Shedeur was fantastic last night. I'm rooting for him to succeed in the NFL, but this is a little too much here, right? This is just a little too much. Last night after the game, Nike drops an ad, only a matter of time, with the caption, when you get your opportunity, create your next one. I get what they're...
What? Y'all blew up that Nike marketing post I made about Shedeur Sanders. That thing's got over 70,000 views and 13,000 likes. It ain't even been a full...
Nike just dropped Shedeur Sanders' logo, and the internet basically blacked out from excitement.
Nike didn't just release another product, they ignited a movement. The moment Shedeur Sanders' logo hit the market, online sales surged to levels rarely seen for an NFL rookie, with fans scrambling to grab merchandise before it sold out. This wasn't just about sneakers flying off shelves, it was a clear signal that Sanders' name carries weight far beyond the field, turning him into one of the league's most marketable players overnight. TV ratings spiked nearly 27% in Cleveland's preseason opener compared to the same game last year, and much of that surge was tied directly to Shedeur Sanders stepping on the field. The broadcast carried multiple cutaway shots of fans wearing his brand new Nike gear, a telling sign that this wasn't just hype, but a measurable shift in consumer behavior. Nike's internal tracking reports indicated that the Sanders logo apparel sold out within 6 hours of the official drop, making it one of the fastest rookie-driven sellouts the company has ever recorded. For context, Trevor Lawrence's debut in Jacksonville saw strong numbers, but his first official merchandise rollout took almost 2 weeks to reach the same sales volume that Sanders moved in less than a single day. That contrast shows the speed and intensity of the market response, and it also raises questions about how much of the Browns' sudden commercial spike is being driven by Sanders versus the actual on-field product. The immediate consequence is twofold. First, Nike has concrete proof that their gamble on giving a rookie quarterback a signature mark before his first regular season snap was justified. They aren't just seeing traditional jersey sales, they're watching entire product lines, hoodies, caps, lifestyle sneakers, move in bulk at full retail price without the usual markdown cycle. Second, the Browns front office now has to consider the business weight Sanders brings into every decision they make about him. A rookie with that kind of market traction doesn't just sit quietly in the background of a depth chart. Every rep he takes or doesn't take is magnified by the financial momentum attached to his name. That reality played out in the secondary market almost instantly. Resale platforms like StockX and eBay showed Sanders branded shoes flipping for 220% above retail within 48 hours of release, outpacing even the launch of Ja Morant's basketball line with Nike. Ticket brokers noticed the effect too. Average Browns preseason resale prices climbed from $58 to $92 once Sanders was announced as a probable starter, with the logo drop amplifying that surge further. By the time game day rolled around, entire sections of lower bowl seating were sold out for the first preseason game, something that hasn't happened in Cleveland in nearly a decade. The link between brand heat and butts in seats is rarely this clear, but Sanders has provided the textbook case. The buzz also spilled into digital platforms. Nike's Instagram campaign featuring Sanders pulled in over 1.3 million interactions in the first 24 hours, outperforming established NFL stars like Dak Prescott and Kyler Murray on similar rollouts. More importantly, the traffic didn't just stay on social media. Nike's e-commerce portal saw a 41% increase in Cleveland area sales, suggesting a real conversion from clicks to purchases. In an industry where engagement often feels like empty vanity metrics, Sanders' rollout delivered hard revenue. Yet the flip side of this surge is the pressure it puts on both Sanders and the Browns. Fans aren't just buying merchandise, they're buying into a narrative, one where Sanders represents more than just another rookie quarterback. He's become a symbol of the Browns' future, and that narrative has dollar signs attached. If the performance doesn't eventually match the hype, both Nike and the franchise face the risk of overexposure. But in this early window, the numbers leave little doubt. Sanders' logo drop has shifted the business landscape, forcing the NFL to pay attention to a rookie whose impact is already being measured in millions. The magnitude of this sales spike matters because it changes the entire timeline of Shedeur Sanders' NFL career. Most rookies need years of steady play to build up a commercial profile strong enough to drive real revenue for their sponsors. Sanders Sanders has achieved it before his first meaningful snap, and that distinction carries enormous implications. In a league where jersey sales typically peak for proven veterans or breakout stars, Sanders is bending the curve of expectation. The NFL Players Association released early season projections showing that Sanders' jersey moved into the top 5 nationally during its first week of availability, something even Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert didn't manage until deep into their rookie campaigns. Locally, Browns team shops reported an 82% increase in merchandise transactions compared to last August, a jump so sharp that it forced Nike to fast-track reorders within the first 72 hours. From a football standpoint, this matters because branding power translates directly into organizational leverage. Coaches may want to slow play Sanders' development, giving Dylan Gabriel or a veteran option more early reps, but ownership and sponsors now feel the pull of Sanders' popularity. Every empty seat in Cleveland has historically been a sore spot for the franchise, and suddenly, Sanders' presence has reversed that trend. Season ticket renewals, which hovered around 88% before his arrival, climbed to 96% after the logo announcement and preseason debut. That kind of measurable revenue impact doesn't just influence marketing departments, it filters into roster management decisions. If the fans are buying into Sanders with their wallets, the Browns can't afford to leave him on the sidelines for long. It also matters on a league-wide scale. The NFL is always searching for its next marketable superstar, particularly among quarterbacks who can appeal to both casual fans and dedicated regional bases. Sanders has the rare combination of a college following, built during the Colorado hype run, and a family name that ties directly into NFL history through Deion Sanders. The carryover effect is obvious. National broadcasts that featured Shedeur during college drew an average of 7.2 million viewers, a 34% increase over comparable Pac-12 matchups. Translating that momentum to the NFL explains why broadcasters are lobbying for more Browns primetime slots. Networks are calculating that Sanders' presence will lift viewership beyond the typical draw of a mid-market franchise. If that projection holds, his logo sales aren't just a merchandising story, but an early sign of national ratings gravity. Nike's investment also tells the story of why this matters now. For a brand that has taken hits in the past 2 years with inconsistent athlete rollouts, Sanders provided a clean, high-return play at the exact moment they needed it. The timing was crucial. Nike stock had been flatlining through the summer, and the Sanders logo drop coincided with a modest 3.4% bump in share price during launch week, a rare moment where a single endorsement move visibly moved Wall Street sentiment. That's not something rookie signings typically achieve, and it underscores how heavily the brand is betting on Sanders. For the Browns, that means their quarterback prospect is already carrying expectations beyond football. Every play he runs is now tethered to millions in corporate marketing spend. There's also the human factor. Teammates notice when a rookie's locker fills with boxes of gear emblazoned with his personal mark, when crowds show up wearing his logo before he's thrown a touchdown pass, and when national media starts treating him like a franchise face. That kind of spotlight can fracture a locker room if not handled carefully. Veterans may bristle at the attention, while young players may see Sanders as proof that NIL-style celebrity has officially infiltrated the NFL. Either way, it matters because it's reshaping the culture of a team that hasn't found consistent footing in decades. Sanders' influence is already measurable in merchandise, in ratings, and in ticket sales, but the bigger impact may come in how quickly it forces the Browns to redefine what it means to manage a rookie quarterback in the modern era. When you line up Shedeur Sanders' logo drop against past rookies, the differences jump off the page. Johnny Manziel, once considered Cleveland's most electrifying rookie draw, sold plenty of jerseys in 2014, but his momentum burned out within months. His debut jersey cracked the top 10 nationally, but he never sustained that traction after a string of poor performances. Sanders, by contrast, is building a deeper merchandise ecosystem before his first regular season snap, showing a staying power Manziel never reached. Trevor Lawrence, the consensus #1 pick in 2021, offers another telling contrast. Lawrence moved units steadily, but it took him nearly half a season of NFL play to reach the top tier of jersey sales. Sanders reached that benchmark before stepping onto an NFL field, which speaks not just to hype, but to the cultural crossover he brings from his college run and family legacy. Other rookie quarterbacks give us similar measuring sticks. Robert Griffin III exploded in 2012, landing the #1 spot in jersey sales after his first few games, but his signature deals came later and mostly attached to short-lived campaigns. Andrew Luck in that same draft class was more of a slow build. His jerseys sold consistently, but without the overnight surge. Sanders' trajectory leans closer to Griffin's peak, but with the added weight of corporate alignment in the NIL era. Nike didn't just wait to see how Sanders performed. They launched with him as if he were already a Pro Bowler. That shift highlights how the landscape has changed. In today's NFL, rookies with built-in celebrity are monetized faster, and Sanders is the clearest case yet. Comparisons even extend outside the NFL. Think back to LeBron James in 2003. His Nike debut wasn't just about a shoe, it was about a generational promise. Within weeks, LeBron's sneakers were selling out nationwide, and the buzz justified Nike's $90 million rookie contract with him. While Sanders isn't operating on that dollar scale yet, the speed of his logo's sell-through mimics the same pattern. He's not only selling in Cleveland, his products are moving in markets like Denver, Dallas, and Atlanta, regions tied either to his college following or his father's legacy. That national reach is unusual for a rookie quarterback, especially one drafted into a franchise that has historically struggled to command attention beyond Ohio. We also can't ignore the NIL era as a point of contrast. Before NIL, rookies like Cam Newton or Jameis Winston entered the league with strong name recognition, but they didn't carry personal logos or brand identities already tested in the college marketplace. Sanders does. His time at Colorado turned him into a social media star, and those platforms carried directly into his NFL rollout. For Nike, that meant they weren't just betting on a prospect, they were scaling up an existing ecosystem of millions of engaged followers. Historically, rookies had to earn brand credibility in the NFL before sponsors went all in. Sanders flipped that equation by proving his commercial pull before he ever left college. The result is a launch that feels less like a rookie debut and more like the continuation of a carefully built empire. The most striking comparison might be to Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes sat for a year in Kansas City before becoming a full-blown superstar, and his merchandise didn't explode until he started winning MVPs and Super Bowls. Sanders is on a compressed timeline. He's already seeing commercial numbers that Mahomes didn't touch until his second or third year. That doesn't guarantee he'll reach Mahomes' on-field heights, but it does illustrate the structural shift in how athletes are marketed. In the past, winning drove sales. Now, narrative and cultural relevance can drive sales before winning even happens. That's what sets Sanders apart when stacked against past examples. He's entering the NFL not as a blank slate, but as a proven commercial entity, and that makes his trajectory unlike anything the league has seen in years. Nike's strategy with Shedeur Sanders reveals just how calculated the business side of football has become. This wasn't a standard jersey rollout where fans buy a nameplate after draft night. Nike executed a full campaign, teasers on social media, limited drops timed around preseason hype, and influencer partnerships that amplified the launch across platforms beyond sports. The payoff was immediate. Cleveland's preseason game featuring Sanders drew a 9.8 local rating, the highest for a Browns August game in more than 15 years, and Nike's online store saw a 41% surge in traffic during the broadcast. That correlation between broadcast visibility and e-commerce sales is exactly the synergy brands dream about, and it positions Sanders not just as an athlete, but as a live event revenue engine. Sponsorship ripple effects are equally telling. Local apparel retailers in Ohio reported that Sanders branded gear made up nearly 35% of total Browns-related merchandise sales during launch week, displacing veterans like Myles Garrett and Nick Chubb, who have long dominated the market. Nationally, Nike's early September earnings call highlighted rookie-led sales momentum without naming Sanders outright, but analysts connected the dots. Wall Street responded with a modest but noticeable uptick in Nike's stock, reversing a summer slump that had seen the company lag behind rivals like Adidas and Under Armour. Sanders' success proved that even in a crowded athletic wear market, an NFL rookie could still move the needle on a global corporation's financial reporting. The deeper business context also shows how Sanders is reshaping consumer behavior. Traditional NFL merchandise sales spike around playoff runs or major milestones, but Sanders' rollout happened in August, historically a dead zone for football-related revenue. Yet Browns ticket brokers saw secondary market prices rise 60% after his logo drop, with some lower bowl seats climbing above $120 for preseason matchups that normally normally go for under $50. Corporate sponsors took notice too. Gambling platforms leaned into Sanders-themed prop bets during the preseason, reporting a 23% increase in handle compared to last year's Browns exhibition games. Those bets weren't about wins or losses, they were about Sanders' individual stats, like passing yards and completions, underscoring how fans were investing financially in his every move. Fan sentiment added another layer of momentum. Social media campaigns under hashtags like #SSLogo and #PrimeLegacy trended nationally within 24 hours of the release, generating more than 50 million impressions. Those numbers rivaled conversations usually reserved for playoff teams or major free agent signings. In Cleveland, sports radio reported that callers were overwhelmingly focused not on the Browns' defensive schemes or offensive line rotations, but on Sanders' gear and what it symbolized. That shift in conversation demonstrates how deeply a rookie's personal brand has penetrated the fan psyche. It's no longer just about how Sanders plays, it's about what he represents in terms of identity, culture, and future potential. All of this feeds into Nike's broader business play. The company has struggled in recent years to replicate the runaway successes of athletes like Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Sanders offers a fresh, football-centric anchor that taps into both nostalgia through his father's legacy and modern NIL-era celebrity. By pairing his launch with high-visibility preseason games and a media environment hungry for new stars, Nike maximized the overlap between sports performance and cultural relevance. The gamble is clear. If Sanders performs on the field, Nike has positioned itself at the center of a marketing juggernaut. If he doesn't, the company still extracted a massive short-term win in sales, visibility, and stock momentum, proving that sometimes hype alone can be monetized before reality sets in. Projecting forward, the implications of Shedeur Sanders' logo launch stretch far beyond one viral sales spike. If Sanders continues to perform on the field, Nike could be looking at the first rookie quarterback since Andrew Luck to anchor a long-term national campaign. But with far faster acceleration, his gear is already moving like that of an established pro bowler, which means if he stacks actual wins and gaudy passing stats on top of that momentum, the ceiling becomes enormous. Imagine a Browns playoff push with Sanders under center. Every highlight clip circulating on social media doubles as free advertising for Nike. Every primetime game amplifies his visibility, and every jersey or hoodie in the stands reinforces his commercial presence. That combination of on-field performance and off-field branding could make Sanders the NFL's most valuable marketing asset since Patrick Mahomes broke out in 2018. But there's a real risk side to consider. If Sanders struggles, if his completion percentage hovers under 60%, or if turnovers pile up, the narrative can flip quickly. Fans who bought into the logo as a symbol of hope may start to sour, and Nike could face unsold inventory just as quickly as they once sold out. The Browns know this dynamic all too well. They've watched the jersey graveyard of failed quarterbacks stack up over the years, from Manziel to Mayfield. Sanders' commercial explosion raises the stakes. Cleveland can't afford for him to become another cautionary tale, not when ticket renewals and corporate sponsorships are already tied to his name. The pressure isn't just on him to succeed, it's on the organization to build the right system around him, giving him protection, weapons, and time to grow into the expectations his brand has already created. On a league-wide level, Sanders' success could change the way rookies are marketed forever. If Nike's bet pays off, future prospects could arrive in the NFL with prepackaged personal brands, ready for signature logos and national campaigns before their first snaps. That's a major departure from the old model, where companies waited to see who became a proven winner. It shifts power toward young athletes, especially those with strong college followings or family legacies. For the NFL, it means broadcast may lean even harder on rookie storylines, not just because of draft hype, but because of direct corporate partnerships that link fan engagement to merchandise sales. Sanders' trajectory could become the template: build a brand in college, convert it into a signature line in the pros, and monetize before performance even enters the equation. There's also the local economic impact. If Sanders stays hot, Cleveland businesses will benefit from more foot traffic around the stadium, higher demand for merchandise in retail shops, and greater visibility on national broadcasts. The city hasn't had a commercial sports figure of this magnitude since LeBron James left the Cavaliers, and Sanders could fill that vacuum in a football context. Nationally, sponsors will be watching closely to see how sustainable this demand is. If Sanders holds fan attention through the grind of a full season, expect other rookies in future drafts to land similar deals, creating a new arms race between Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour for the next big NFL face. In short, the future hinges on Sanders' ability to match his brand heat with consistent production. If he throws for 3,500 yards, completes over 65% of his passes, and keeps Cleveland in playoff contention, Nike's early bet will look visionary. If not, it risks being remembered as another case of hype outpacing reality. Either way, the implications are enormous. Sanders has already proven that the rules of NFL marketing have changed, and the entire league will be adjusting its approach based on how this experiment plays out.